Hi everybody, happy Saturday. We're talking about redefining aging gracefully. I have a special guest, Dina Mansour, so I'm gonna see if I can get her on here. I'll let you guys start coming on, but today is all about redefining what midlife actually looks and feels like. Hi everybody. Let me see if I can get her on here. We are having just a girlfriend chat today with Dina Mansour. Let's see if I can find her on here. Today is all about redefining midlife, right? It doesn't look or feel like anything that we thought was possible. So that's what we're looking at today. It's midlife mindset. It's the benefits of having a positive mindset when it comes to aging. It's redefining what midlife actually looks and feels like and trying to find those midlife opportunities instead of thinking that we're in a midlife crisis. So I have Dina Mansour from the Perfect Derma Peel coming on here today. Let me see if I can see her. Yes. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. Let's see. There we go.
Hey, I'm trying to get this.
You're doing great. We're here. We're here. Hi,
okay,
Dina. How are you?
Hi. How are you?
I'm really good. It's really good to see you. It's good to see a fellow 55-year-old.
Woo-hoo.
Right? Woo-hoo. Although I'm about to turn 56 in April. I think
Oh my God. Happy
you turned 56 in July. Is that right?
July. Yes. I'm super excited about it.
Okay, so for those of you guys just joining me, I'm here with Dina Mansour from the Perfect Derma Peel, and we originally we're going to come on here to talk about skincare and chemical peels, and then we got to chatting, and all things midlife kind of came up, and
Absolutely.
we thought this is a good opportunity. The big 5-6. I'm very excited about.
I am too. Like I actually am. I know that sounds crazy, but like I get excited about it because I'm like, I'm still alive.
Yes.
Yes. Breathing. And you know, being a mom, I'm a grandmother now, like I'm embracing that.
Wow.
So it feels good.
It feels good. And you know what the interesting thing is, was it anything like you thought it was going to be?
Not at all. Because I feel like back in the day, like if I heard someone was like 30, they were old. Like I remember when I was younger, like, oh, my aunt, she's 30. But like now I'm in my 50s, and I think that everything is just completely changed, people's mindsets, and it's attitude. I mean, it really is. I feel like that is a big factor in aging gracefully. And
Absolutely. Well, I think just the term aging gracefully, it needs to be completely redefined in the 21st century.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
We're living much longer. We're more active. We've got this opportunity in midlife that, you know, we weren't really kind of thinking that was going to be an option for us. So the way that we are looking and feeling and functioning is completely changing and needs to be redefined. And you're right. That's exactly what I was going to say is it starts with that mindset, right?
Totally. Like I feel like every day I wake up, I want to conquer going to the gym or at least going for a walk or whatever. I am not going to let my age, just that number. I feel like it's just really number, kind of like the scale, because again, back like women going on the scale, I don't even own a scale because I don't even care how much I weigh. Like I don't, because it's a number.
It's all about how
my age.
Your jeans fit.
Yeah, exactly.
For me.
I have that one pair of jeans, believe me, I know. But and I think that also with women our age and women that haven't, let's say, lifted up weights ever in their life, you know, kind of the old school mentality was, oh, I don't want to look like a man, you know, lift weights and have muscle. But as we get older, I mean, you can watch videos and podcasts and everything, but the reality of it is I'm 55, you're 55, and cardio really is not on my checklist other than if I'm going for a walk. But when I go to the gym, it's picking up those weights, resistant training.
Well, yes, absolutely. And I preach a lot about that because as we age, we lose muscle mass starting in our mid-30s. But it's that information that we didn't have our parents didn't have that information, right? Our grandparents didn't have that information, but we now have information that, and listen, longevity is a moving target always.
Absolutely.
So as a health coach, I'm always trying to keep up with like, what is the latest and greatest? What's the new information? What's the marketing bullshit that we can ignore? And how do we really kind of feel and function and look our best in midlife and beyond? But our original conversation started with skincare, and there's something kind of slightly disturbing going on social media when it comes to skincare and what they call the Sephora kids, which are those tweens from like ages 8 to 13 that are spending tons of money on, you know, skincare from Sephora. And so there is this thought of, are they afraid of getting older? Is there a fear that people are having, the younger kids who are doing this skincare, or are they, in my mind, because I had a skincare routine when I was younger as well. It didn't include actives because that's not what we should be doing for our skin. But I did have a skincare routine that included protecting my skin, which I'm sure you agree with at any age.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. SPFs and, you know, some protection so we don't burn. I feel like everything that's going on with that Sephora, that age group, like you said,
8 to 13 is like
13 is like, it's really, those are crucial years at a young girl's age. I have 2 daughters of my own, and I mean, they're older now, so they missed that. And I mean, I remember when we were young, I remember using I don't know, Bonnie Bell lip balm, like
right. I wonder if I still have
some. You have one? Okay.
I think it's in my other room. Yeah, I still love.
Like that's all we had back then, and like we put like nail polish on. But I think social media has changed the mindset of a lot of young people and a lot of people, and so things are more, everything in life is more extravagant, and everything's out on you know, for us to see. There was no stores like Sephora. There was just a drugstore, you know, or Sears or whatever department stores were available back in the day.
Well, and also because we didn't have social media, we weren't looking up to older generations who were using the skincare. We didn't have any, you know, we were just like, hey, asking our friend, can we have your Bonnie Bell lip smacker? You know, can we use it?
That's what it was, lip smacker.
It was lip smacker. And so, and you know, we grew up in the age of the copper tone tan.
Oh yeah,
right,
totally.
Where you lay out in the sun and bake yourself.
Yeah.
So I kind of find that I read this article about the Sephora kids, they're calling them, and it's these tweens that are ages 8 through 13. It's that Generation Z of being obsessed with skincare products at a very young age. And a lot of what I do, and listen, I know your stuff is effective because we're going to talk about chemical peels.
Perfect derma peel. Absolutely. Yes.
Perfect derma peel. But there are things that at that age, at 8 to 13, to get in the habit, because I'm all about self-care habits, to get in the habit of knowing that your skin is important, I think is the one good thing that's coming out of that, because you can prevent a lot of, you know, skin cancers and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like there should be a healthy balance, right, with the young people, with anything, and young girls, like I said, that age group is they're so influenced by that age group. I mean, and they see stuff like you said on social media. But I think there's nothing wrong with protecting your skin. And yes, there's a lot of things I wish I knew when I was younger that that would have helped me more, because I'll admit it, like I was a tanner. Like I was someone who was baking out in the sun. I used to own a tanning salon and spa. and then we started doing spray tanning, which totally changed the whole tanning industry.
Yeah.
You know, so that's a whole other conversation you and I can talk about another day.
Well, and I think that's the interesting part too about talking about midlife, because the way that we grew up was very different. We didn't have that information. Now, for some reason, I got smart about skincare really early. And even though I was a copper tone kid and I would bake myself in the sun, I would lay out with a full towel over my face.
Well, you were smarter than some of us. Believe me, you were definitely. And
so
it shows.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you. But I have like the sunspots from my arms from growing up on a farm, and I'm constantly fighting like the body stuff that I thrashed.
Right.
But I did protect my face. And so I do feel like there is some tiny bit of goodness that's coming out of people understanding that skin is important and it is our largest organ. And how you present your skin to the world makes a difference in what you do with that day, right?
It does.
It does.
So,
And
go ahead.
at that age, at 8 to 13, you know, it might be talking about the actives could be benzoyl peroxide in terms of treating specific concerns.
Right.
Do you find as you've gotten older that you are less concerned with wrinkles and all the fine lines and stuff? Are you more concerned? What is your take on that?
You know what? Can I read this quote actually from Cindy Crawford? And it just kind of like resonated with me, and I love Cindy Crawford anyways. But she said in an interview, "I'm not 25, so why should I be trying to look 25? Aging is what happens. If we're lucky, it means that I'm alive." So really, I'm, you know, with my skincare and the things that I do to my skin, I'm not trying to not look my age, and I actually want to embrace it. Yes, do I want to, you know, do little things here and there that are subtle, but I don't want to be that woman that is getting all this work done. And actually, I feel like a lot of women these days do so much that it actually makes them look older. It actually doesn't make them look younger. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm guilty of I've had Botox, I'll admit it. And I actually just had PRP done to my face and PRF. And so that was a first for me, because I thought, what is healthier than putting my own blood and getting it spun back into my body rather than putting some foreign substance, right?
And I think you just hit the nail on the head for me.
Okay.
Which is, when you're talking about the health of the skin and PRP and PRF, that's a platelet-rich plasma. That's when we're doing microneedling, we're putting all that platelet-rich plasma back into the skin that helps with the cell turnover. It helps for that recovery mode. And the microneedling creates those microtraumas. And all of that is amazing for the health and the function of the skin. And I feel like at 55 years old, I'm not chasing the fine lines and wrinkles, because if we were chasing, Dina, the fine lines and wrinkles, we would lose.
I mean, that's such a beautiful thing. The way you said it, I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth, because I'm learning to own them.
Yeah.
I see in pictures, they notice more. I notice some more depending on lighting. And I notice when I look in the mirror, but I'm like, I earned these like smile lines and these fine lines. Like I'm a smiley person, and I've earned them, and that's okay. And that's okay. And I think a lot of women, it's hard to accept getting older. It is, like, sometimes it is hard because the skin changes, and not just on the face. I mean, I've noticed on my body, and I wanted to kind of like talk about that. And I was just talking to actually a cousin of mine the other day, and I said, I haven't been as diligent going to the gym and lifting weights, and I've lost some weight, just stress, normal everyday life stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not eating as much, and I don't want to lose weight. I actually want to put some weight on because I want to be fuller in my face and my body, because the skin does change when you get older. And, you hear women say everything goes south. I mean, it does. The skin doesn't have as much elasticity.
Yeah.
So the medicine is exercise and lifting weights to fill out the body and the skin, and to kind of not make it look as wrinkly or as, do you know what I mean? It gives it more fullness.
No, more fullness. And it's so funny because when we were younger, I don't know about you, but I was like, that Jane Fonda era. I own some leg warmers and unitards. Like,
coming back. I think they're coming back.
I mean, we were right there, but the way that we exercised back then was very, very different.
Oh, now you go to a gym. The funny thing is, and there's all these like memes and funny things on social media now, you go to a gym and like, it was intimidating for women to go to the weight room. To me, that was a challenge to go to the weight room. I was like, you know what? I'm just like one of the guys. And you know what? If they're, it used to be women are intimidated. I think men now are a little bit more intimidating when they start seeing women coming in there and pushing some weight.
Yeah.
And you can still be feminine. that's the thing. You can still keep your femininity, but have muscle, because you know what, you hear, I mean, I remember like my grandmother or our grandmothers, you know, they used to fall, break their hip.
Yeah.
And then it's because they didn't have that strength and the muscle.
And they don't
I feel like,
yeah, that's exactly right. Muscles, you know, I've been lifting weights. Gosh, I want to say I started when I was 25, about is my first time I started.
a couple years ago.
Yeah, just a couple. Just half my life, more than half my life.
I was about to say, yes.
Yeah, so it's been a while since I've been lifting weights, and I do, you know, I preach a lot about how muscle mass stimulates your metabolism. The more muscle mass you have, the more calories you can burn. This is it's so important as we get older that we're aiming for stronger, not skinny.
Love it.
Right?
Yes.
So for the skin, we're aiming for the health of the skin.
Mm-hmm.
We're not chasing every fine line, but
Mm-hmm.
chemical peels increase the health of the skin. Microneedling increase the health of the skin.
Yeah.
You know, red light therapy, microcurrent, radio frequency, all of these help with that elasticity, with that, the collagen production. So we're chasing the health of the skin. The same is true with exercise.
Yeah.
If we stop chasing how we look in a bikini, right? If we stop chasing the size of our waistband in a pair of jeans, and instead we aim for how strong can I possibly make this one freaking body that I have?
Right. And I feel like it's never too late, Darnell.
No.
It's never too late. And I feel like muscle has memory, and like I haven't been to the gym in a little while, and I'm like gonna get back. I'm moving and lots of stuff going on, but I'm gonna get back. And it's just getting up and getting out and getting to the gym is half the battle. Once you're there, it feels so good when you're done. But muscle has memory. And you know what? If you've never lifted weights, doesn't mean you can't start at our age.
Nope. In fact, you can't, there's the mindset. Let's get back to the mindset. So we talked about skin and the health of the skin. We talked about exercise and how that has to change. But a lot of this comes from like this preconceived notions of what it would feel and look like as a 55-year-old woman, right? And to get back into that mindset of like, can we put on muscle after the age of 50? Yes. Look at Train with Joan.
Oh
right?
my gosh. That's so crazy that you brought her up, because I follow her and I love her. I'm always like reposting stuff. Like I'm like goals, inspo, like Train with, I mean, maybe you can talk a little bit about her. Like she's 80, I think now.
She's 75. She started lifting weights at 70. She was 60 pounds overweight at 70 years old, 60 pounds overweight. And she has now become this phenomenon of like inspiration, because talk about you're never too late to start. You're never too late to start. You can start at 70. She's probably increased her time that she's going to spend on the planet by 10 years.
Oh my God. And her daughter is a Canadian fitness girl that kind of inspired her, right?
Yeah.
To start lifting weights. And I mean, if anybody's on here watching, you've got to follow this lady. She is just unbelievable. Like the before and after, I mean, that's the real deal. I mean, there she is in Mexico doing squats, working out, and at the gym, like the stuff she's doing. I watch her and just the definition in her arms, like you just like her whole body. I mean, everything. That is an inspiration.
She's completely transformed her body, right? Completely transformed her body. And I don't mean by what she looks like in a bathing suit. That's not what we mean by when we say transformed her body. What I mean is her muscle mass has completely changed. Her muscle composition has changed. Her cardiovascular health has changed. Her bone density has changed. Her mood has changed. Her sleep has changed. All of this from lifting weight. Somebody just said, who is she? She is a 75-year-old Instagram influencer. Her name is, her handle is at Train with Joan. And she is now in a bunch of different write-ups in a bunch of different magazines and a true inspiration. But here's the thing. She's not the only person out there doing this.
Right.
We are shining a light on something, on somebody who is in the spotlight. And if there is somebody who's in the spotlight who we're saying, wow, look at this person. There's a million more people in their 70s who are doing the same thing. When we look at, like, you're never too old to start. Vera Wang started her company when she was 40 years old. She didn't make her own wedding dress. Martha Stewart is about to publish her 100th book, and she's 80. She didn't publish her first book until she was in her 50s. Martha Stewart did not start her career until she was in her 50s.
That's unbelievable. I didn't know that. I did not know that. So that's great info. But going back to mindset, I think that I think it's mindset and just attitude in general. Attitude is going to help get you to the gym. Your attitude is going to help you get up in the morning and wake up with a positive. And it sounds maybe it's harder for some people if they're going through stuff. But if you just change that mindset, I feel like you can change everything in your world. Absolutely. And I think that's what helps me. I mean, I feel like I've always been a very positive person, and I try to see the good in things rather than the bad. And that's helped me in life. And as being a woman, I'm divorced, raised 2 kids, ran my own business, went through some hard times. Like, life is not perfect, but we have to have that gratitude and be grateful for today and for this beautiful day. The sun is out in California, which is great.
The sun is out.
We got a lot of rain. But I really feel that is what helps me and would help a lot of people, give them that strength to get up and get to the gym, or think of a good skincare routine, or how do we take care. It's just never too late.
It's never too late. And I think that I can't stress enough. When it comes to going to the gym and it comes to taking care of your health, it comes to all of that stuff, don't break the promises to yourself. We say this morning, and this is just a little example. This morning, I had an 8:30 Stronger class. Okay, it's called Stronger because it's heavy weights. I'm in a class at Equinox. Started at 8:30. 8:30 is not my ideal time to work out. I'm more of a 10 a.m. person. I like to get my workout in within 3 hours of waking up, because that helps with your sleep cycle. If you guys missed, for those of you guys who are new to this channel, if you missed the Instagram live, I did on how to get your best night's sleep ever, that talks about the primary time or the ideal time to work out. So make sure you check that out. That is in my highlighted reels. Okay. But that said, like, I could have talked myself out of going.
Very easy to do, right?
So many times. I almost talked myself out of going last night. I almost called my friend and said, I really, I don't know if I really want to go that time. I can work out right before my live and not, just kind of sleep in a little bit longer. I had these thought processes that came into my head. And there's a zillion ways that I could have not gone to the gym today. And my thought, what I've realized in my 55 years on the planet, and more specifically, once I hit 50, is that I wouldn't put up with my friends breaking promises to me. Why do we accept letting ourselves down and breaking those promises to ourselves when we say we're going to do something? I'm going to go to the gym this morning. Get to the freaking gym. Yeah. Don't break that promise to yourself.
I feel, what helps with that, and I used to be, by the way, and I love everything you're saying, because I am a true believer in that, is I used to be like be at the gym. I was at the gym at 6 a.m. and I did it for years because I had to open my business up at 9, get the kids off to school, shower, all that stuff. So the less available time I had, the more diligent I was to be organized about going to the gym, because that was the only time I could fit it in.
Yeah.
And life changes, right? But I feel like if you lay out your clothes, for me anyways, lay out my clothes the night before, and you have a mindset, and you put out your outfit, not that you have to get all fancy. I'm just saying, like, put out your workout, have everything ready, and set your alarm and everything, and know that I think it's just knowing that feeling, getting those endorphins flowing when you're at the gym. And by the way, like, I think you'll agree with me, Darnell, it's not even just the gym, because maybe somebody doesn't have a gym membership. Maybe if you live in California or nicer climates, I've been doing hikes. I get up and before work, I start at 9 and get up. I'm at the hill at 7, do a hike, and it was hard getting up and all that stuff. But once I got there and I reached the top, I remember looking at the view going, this is so worth it. This was, I feel, and I actually felt all day when I work, because I sit in front of a computer for like 7 hours, and I felt like I had so much more energy, because sometimes I get tired like around that 2 o'clock hour. Nothing. Felt so good.
Yeah.
I felt great.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing? I mean, movement is medicine for sure, but it's interesting that, there's so many people that have this internal dialogue of, I can't lose weight over 50, or I can't lose weight once I've hit menopause, or there's no way I'm going to get a 6-pack after the age of 40, or I can't build muscle mass because of X, Y, and Z, or I don't have time, or, I can't reinvent myself now. How many times have you reinvented yourself?
Oh, gosh. Do you have another hour?
Same.
Yeah.
I went back to school when I was 52 to get a second master's. I've reinvented myself so many times. And that's one of the things I think when I work with like younger people who aren't happy with their career or aren't happy with where they are in life, I just think like there's so many different phases. You can, if your goal is to build muscle in midlife, you can. There are people that are doing it all the time. If your goal is, I don't like my job, I want to find something I'm passionate about, you can do it. It happens all the time.
Darnell, I feel though some people wait for someone to motivate them. There's a lot of people out there that wait for someone to motivate. They need someone to motivate them. And that's where mindset comes back to, like, self-motivate. And it's maybe it's not that easy. I mean, it's easy for some others, like maybe you and I, it's easy because I try to self-motivate. But there's some people that need someone to lean on to motivate them. So find a gym partner or walking partner or something, and guy or girl or friend. And there's groups on Facebook that you can join that it makes you accountable. So if you need that motivation, you need someone else to motivate you, go on these groups and these meetups and maybe find someone, because some people do need to be accountable. They need someone to say, okay, 7 o'clock, meet me at the hill, because it's easy to, like you said, to talk yourself out of it, right?
I mean, that is true. I did meet a friend this morning, and it did make me a little bit more like to where I would end up going. But yesterday, when I went to the gym yesterday, I did this whole story of, I went to the gym and I thought I got into a class, and then I realized
I watched it. I watched your story.
I'm like so number one on the wait list. I did not get in. I came back home. Was supposed to meet my other trainer at the gym. That didn't go well. Came back home, like started doing yoga. Like, there are times when, yes, it helps when you've got an exterior, somebody to be accountable. And when you don't have that person, that's when I feel like in midlife, I am so much more reliant on myself to be kind. It is being kind to yourself, to be kind to yourself and say, like, I'm worth the self-care, because the self-care, whether that's meditation, whether that's getting 8 hours sleep, whether that's putting real food in your body, whether that's, you're having a positive mindset or lifting weights, whatever it is, there comes a time when you have to realize, like, as our friend groups get a little smaller with age and our relationships get more tight, to have that relationship with yourself that says, I'm tired of letting myself down. I don't want to like lie to myself or let myself down and say, like, you know what, tomorrow I'm not going to have that second glass of wine. Now, I gave up alcohol a year and a half ago, but I'm not going to have that glass of wine with dinner. I'm not going to, and then you continually do it. I'm not going to have junk food after,
You're lying
And
to
then you
yourself.
continually break that promise to yourself.
Yeah.
You're letting yourself down. You need to build that trust back in yourself, I think is super important. So when you say you're going to do something, if you've got that intention, you've laid out your clothes, work out.
Yeah.
What else do you have to do? Because I lay out my clothes too, and I put my clothes on right after my cold plunge, red light therapy, skincare, exercise clothes come on. This is part of my healthy aging hacks that I do. If you guys missed that live show I did on self-care and how to incorporate healthy aging self-care in a way that doesn't take any extra time or money, make sure you check out that live. Again, it's on the highlighted reel, my highlighted stories. But that kind of making yourself the priority. Because listen, we've all like taken care of kids, right? We've taken care of husbands, got rid of those, taken care of another. Like, you know,
that's a whole other live again. We'll talk about that.
I'm on number 2, and I'm done.
You are? Oh God. Okay.
I'm done. I'm on number 2.
Fill me in off camera. Give me the deets.
I'll give you the details. I got a good one this time. I'll give you the details.
I'm happy.
I'll give you the details. But I think that when we get to this certain age, you know, we have to at some point turn inward and say, who's going to take care of me now?
Right.
And
that's right.
Sometimes that doesn't come from exterior. That's the word that's the word I was searching for. Exterior people. That comes a lot of times from like, how bad do you want it? And what is your mindset of what is possible? If you can just think, you know, Martha Stewart didn't start until she was 50 and she's publishing her 100th book. That already is like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I can do this. I can build muscle mass in midlife. Absolutely. Look at Joan. I can reinvent myself. We all have, right? It is possible. And how are you going to keep yourself accountable? I think is super important. But in terms of mindset, the way that the media portrays older people is not doing any of us a service. It is a disservice. So if you look at like the way that older people are cast in movies and in TV, you don't see the Jones of the world, buff and lifting weights and mobile. You don't. Right. Look at like, when's the next time you see somebody cast on TV that's playing the part of a 75-year-old? They're not Jones. They're not the Jones of the world, the Train with Jones of the world, although there's multiple people that are like that. To change that mindset and go against what we are continually bombarded with,
right,
is hard.
It is true. It is. And I think that, like, I'm proud to say I'm a grandmother, and so people think. I was out for dinner the other day, and the server saw the picture on my phone of my grandson, and he goes, "Who's that?" And I was like, "Well, it's my grandson." And he's like, "My grandmother didn't look like that," you know. And I go, "My cane is in the car," you know, like joking around, but like. The mindset of like what a grandmother's supposed to look like. You can be a grandmother at 45 if you're you know. So it is like how we are mentally kind of programmed to think of what a 55-year-old woman is supposed to look like, act like, and it's sad, but I feel like we're out there trying to change that mindset to say, hey, you know, own your age. We're not trying to change it.
Yeah.
We're trying to just stay healthy and live longer if we can, to be here on this earth for our children, for ourselves, and enjoy life. And life doesn't end after 50.
No.
Life is over after 50. It's not. I mean, there's that saying, I don't know what your answer would be, but they say like, if you didn't know your age, how old would you say you are?
30.
That's always my
I mean, that's how
always 30. Yeah.
That's what I feel. I think that when we get, because 30, we at least have, well, some of us have our shit together a little bit at 30.
Right.
Like, we're like, okay, nobody's helping take care of us. We've then turned into, like most women, caretakers. At that kind of, now it's kind of shifting to around 40 when you've got kids and you've got elderly parents and you're caretakers. But I think that my mindset, like what I feel like, I think I'm at around 30. That's what I feel like.
That. And you look so amazing. You look so amazing. You're inspo for me, honestly. And I I always say 30 whenever I've been asked that question or I've read it somewhere, and I'm like, I feel 30. Like, I don't feel like I have little reminders sometimes here and there of my age, but like, that's okay.
Yeah.
But I don't see myself being 55. It is just a number. And 30 is just like, that's the way I feel like I stopped, and I just didn't age after that in my mind.
Yeah.
And maybe that helps me in my days, because in my mind, if I think, oh, I'm 55, I'm supposed to have like aches and pains, and I'm supposed to be this way, I'm supposed to have this, I'm going through menopause. I mean, that's a whole other conversation too.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
I went through menopause, and I didn't really even, I guess I expected this big like thing with menopause, and
Yeah.
I just had like hot flashes and stuff for a little bit, and then it was done, and that was it.
And that's what's so interesting too, is because now menopause is having a moment, which, thank God, it's about time that menopause is having a moment, right? But it looks very different for different people.
Absolutely. And yeah, I don't mean to take that away from other people, because there's other people that struggle with, with menopause, and it can be very life-changing, and they get depressed, or they get like, it is. I'm not underplaying it or minimizing it for others. I'm just saying my own experience, and I don't know if that is genetics. Like my mom, I asked her, and she's like, yeah, like I kind of went through it the same as her. But also my mom, thank God, is like super healthy, and she's taking care of herself, and she's in her 70s. And I feel that exercise, having a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
I don't drink, I don't smoke. I exercise since I was, I started when I was in my teens, and I feel as though that plays a role on where I'm today, whether it's menopause or other things. So
absolutely. But I think the reason why I brought that up is because I've done a couple different live shows with Dr. Barbara Taylor, who stresses, like, menopause your way, because the way that people are going through menopause and the symptoms that they have looks very different for different people.
For sure.
And there's this whole dread of like, what will happen?
Right. Yeah.
When I go through menopause, and my life is going to be over, and everything's going to dry up and shrivel up like a raisin. And no,
I didn't even, I was waiting for it. I literally was like, okay, is that it? Is that, I don't know.
Now I did have, like, listen, when menopause hit me, it hit me like a
kind of
truck.
It did?
Yeah,
oh,
no,
okay.
It hit me like one of those big giant trucks on the freeway. It out of left field.
Right.
I started having hot flashes, and it was debilitating for a while, until I realized, like, okay, wait a second, this is not okay.
Right.
And got into the doctor and got on hormone replacement therapy. It's not for everybody, but man, it's the way that they're even talking about hormone replacement therapy is very, very different than it was in the past, which is why, there's so many different ways to deal with menopause, that it is having a moment, and more and more women are getting help. But it's interesting because it's through podcasts, and it's through radio, and it's through people like that are, these midlife women who are now have a voice,
right,
that weren't given a voice before, because when they turned 50 or 40, they were off the air. And now we're able to hear podcasts, and we're able to have older women that are, on talk shows and different things, that are really kind of redefining what menopause even looks and feels like.
Right. They're telling their story. And I think that we're getting more educated on it. And I don't know much about hormone replacement. I've read about it. And like you said, I think it's not for everybody. But I would definitely, look at it and as an option. I've never really dived into that, and I know you're more educated on it, but like you said, it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
So
no, not for everybody, but it sure does, like, for those of us that suffer from like the hot flashes and all of that, and we want to protect our brains and our bones and our heart and all that with the age-related diseases, the options of aging have completely changed than what they used to be, for our grandparents.
Yeah, that's a good point, because we didn't have we didn't have any of this. I mean, we didn't. Look at the world the way it is today. Thinking of back when my mom was in her 50s or 40s. I mean, there was nothing.
There was
I mean, there was nothing. I mean, maybe there was, but we just didn't hear about it, right?
Well, or you heard the negative stuff because of that one giant study that came out that was very flawed, that said that hormone replacement therapy would cause breast cancer. There's a lot of information that Dr. Barbara Taylor has, and a lot of information on the previous lives that I've done with that, that kind of dispels all of those, all of what we previously thought. And that's the thing about aging. Because it's such a moving target and longevity is a moving target, there are constantly new things coming up that will help us to age in a more healthy way. And that's the exciting part of the field, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel though, just I feel blessed every day just to be able to breathe, to walk outside. And as you get older too, and your family, people start passing, right? You have older aunts and uncles, and you see things happening in this world, and it just makes me anyways appreciate life so much more.
Yeah.
And just have that gratitude, and and being able to just breathe fresh air and have healthy meals and just have food on the table is a beautiful thing, right? But we are, life throws us curveballs. There's nothing, it's not perfect. And I never ever portray my life or yourself, you've gone through ups and downs.
I'm going through some stuff right now, you guys.
Yeah.
For those of you who follow me, I'm going through some family stuff right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Life happens and stuff. Yeah. That's okay. Life happens, and as long as you are continuing to put on your oxygen mask, we have a hard time doing that as women. We want to, when life gets tough and those around us are hurting, we tend to drop the ball and take off our oxygen masks, try to help everybody else. And, that's one of the main things that I've learned in going back to school, is that the things that we can incorporate every day that we know is putting on an oxygen mask for us, whether that's getting to the gym, whether that's doing a chemical peel.
Yeah.
Because that's part of it too.
Thank you.
That's part of it too. What you feel about your skin, that's part of it too. Yes. We'll jump on the phone afterwards. I'm going to show you what I have for the Perfect Derma, because I might end up just doing a full demo and giving myself a peel tomorrow on Instagram Live at 12.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'm interested in that. But so the interesting thing is, when did you start this whole other thing with the Perfect Derma and chemical peels? Because you've been in this beauty industry for a very long time.
Yeah, I actually, I started out working when I lived in Canada, working in the cosmetic department. I worked for different lines: Clarins, Shiseido, Vichy, Clinique, Estee Lauder. Honestly, I worked for so many brands, and I love them all. They all have great things about them. And then I decided to open up my own business, and I opened up a tanning salon, which I went from skincare to tanning the skin. And then that whole tanning industry changed.
Yeah.
And we started doing spray tanning. And I did that honestly for almost 20 years, had my own business, and then got out actually at a great time, sold my business, moved back to California to be close to my family. And then started working for another actually spray tanning company here in San Diego. And I worked corporate. And then I got a job with Perfect Derma Peel about 4 years ago, I would say. And I do their PR, their marketing, I help with product development, social media, and we're always developing new products. So I'm in there giving my input.
Yeah.
So I just love that industry. I've been so used to being in the beauty industry and different aspects of it.
Yeah.
That I just, and the chemical peel industry is really huge right now, and I feel like it's here to stay. I feel like back in the day there was, I'm not going to say the name, but there was a particular dermatologist and back in the 80s that was doing chemical peels and trying them out, and it was, people were scared of that. No one knew what a chemical peel, and now everybody knows what a chemical peel is. And because people freaked out because their skin looks burned or that it looks red and then starts peeling, and then didn't realize that, oh my God, there's this like baby skin. It's like butter when that layer of skin comes off. So chemical peels are here to stay, and the perfect derma peel is, and again, we can do another live one of these days, just doing the peel, talking about it. I would love to. And we have two different kinds. We have the Pro Clinical, which is a non-medical grade peel, which is something you can do at home. And it's like a refresher, and you can do it every 2 weeks, and it gives that nice glow. You may not get that same peeling sensation where you would with the Perfect Derma, because it is a medical grade and there's a lot more acids in it, lots of great ingredients, and you will get more of that sloughing off of the skin.
I call it like the Walking Dead effect. It's like totally. All of a sudden you've got like your skin's like hanging.
We tell people, don't peel it out, don't pull it, just you can trim it. And those videos, of course, on social media, seeing that dramatic skin coming off, people love that. Those get more views than anything, because it really is fascinating to see. And everybody peels differently. And I think that's what some people don't understand, is that like peeling, our peel is the same. Yeah. What's different is the person's skin, right? And it's good for all ethnicities, all skin types. And so everybody peels differently and reacts different,
So just even hearing you talk about this, I can tell you're passionate about it.
Oh, yes. Oh, totally.
And so
I absolutely love it.
Did you find that, like, even though you've been in this industry for a long time, did you find that as you've gotten older, that you're really kind of finding where that passion really lies, and having that kind of inspire yourself to keep wanting to go and to keep wanting to learn more and to keep, because that's what I've found.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see if that was true for you as well.
Absolutely. I love to educate myself. I love to, I follow you, and you're an inspiration to me, because sometimes you talk about things that I haven't even heard of. I'm like, how come I don't know that? Like, I need to, why don't I know that, Darnell? Like, I missed the boat on that, right?
Well, you got to tune in every Saturday and Sunday at noon.
I do. I am faithful, I promise. But there are things that I don't always know, and I'm like, I need to know this. Like, why don't? And so I think what worked for me is figuring out what works for me and my skin, the time that I have for my skin, and what doesn't work. And so I feel chemical peel is definitely something everybody should incorporate in their skincare routine every 4 weeks if it's a medical grade, and it helps with those little sunspots. And
I do a chemical peel weekly, but it's an at-home chemical peel.
Right.
So very different than what the in-office is. I don't get the big sloughing off of skin.
Right. And that's like our Pro Clinical, which I think you have. You can have. Yeah. And if not, I'll send you one.
I'll send you. I think you guys, tomorrow at noon, I'm going to be doing a chemical peel on myself live, because Sundays are normally my demo days. And I thought that we were going to come on initially. When I called you, I'm like, I want to talk about chemical peels, and let's talk about the science behind chemical peels, so that when I do this demo tomorrow and share it to my subscription club, it's like, okay, I've covered all bases. But I've done live shows on the science behind chemical peels. And if you guys haven't seen those, for those of you just joining, make sure you go and check out my story live show highlights, because all of the live shows that I do are in there. And I did a whole live show on chemical peels, the science behind it. But when I got on the phone with you and we were just talking, it was like, we're the same age. We're going through the same stuff. Yeah. And I thought, this is more of an education in terms of, when I look at my demographic of people that follow me, most of my demographic is between 25 and 35. That's the majority of, now I've got the 45 to 60. But the big chunk is this younger demographic. Like,
that's interesting.
Take back 20, 30 years. That's the people that are following me. And so the majority of them. And so I always want to, like, let's make sure that you're not self-sabotaging you and becoming it's like when there's so many stereotypes out there for older women.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're supposed to all be irrational and hot flashy and we're invisible and there's all of we can't do this and we're just now like trying to take care of everybody else, and there's these preconceived notions
Mm-hmm.
that we have what our age is supposed to look
Mm-hmm.
like and feel like, what our mindset's supposed to be.
Right.
Are we supposed to be worried with wrinkles? Are we supposed to be worried with, what it means to like grow old? And that conversation that we had just made me think like, let's just grab a cup of coffee and chat about this.
And my bling flask here. Did you see it?
I have my big
I have to have a little bling in my life, right? Yes, I agree. I mean, I think that was really cute because yes, originally that's what we were going to talk about, chemical peels, and we had so much in common, and it was kind of like we have so much more to talk about too. Like let's just because it's relatable, right? So hopefully
it's relatable. And even for those young, listen, we're in denial for most of our age, for most of our life, we're in denial that we're going to die. Okay.
So true.
That is the reality. We're all going to one day, hopefully with a little bit of luck, be wrinkled up old ladies, right?
Mm-hmm. It's gonna
that
happen.
Are still functioning and happy and still putting our best skin forward, because that doesn't change. Mm-hmm. You don't just one day throw in the towel. You still aim for the health of your skin, right? You're not chasing the wrinkles anymore, but you aim for the health of your skin. You're still aiming for all the as healthy as you can be, or at least I am, and I know that you are as well. But when I look at the 20-year-olds and the 30-year-olds, and now the Sephora kids who are obsessed with the skincare, ages 8 through 13 is like a thing. It's a demographic on social media and skincare. So when I look at this younger generation, and part of what I like to do by being a teacher is that gerontivity, right? That giving back to the younger generations. And that's, I think, what this conversation can do, is to tell the younger generations, life isn't over when you go through menopause. Life isn't over when you hit your 50s. Life isn't over when you get a divorce. Life isn't over. Right. Life keeps going forward. And what's your mindset going to be to get you to that point,
I feel like those are just chapters. You just close the chapter, little chapters in our life. It's like a book, and there's little chapters, and then you go to the next chapter. And and like you said, when you're in your 20s, you don't think you're gonna die. You don't think you don't even think like that. Like you're not, as you get older, yes, you think you're more mindful of those things. And so we just have to embrace what we have and be grateful for it. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, though, as a gerontologist, I think about dying all the time. I do. It's part of my job. That's my job.
Yes.
I think about how to, if you start with the end in sight, right?
Yeah.
How do I want to be at the end of my life? At the end of my life, how do I want to function? How do I want to feel? How do I want to look with any luck? How do I want to still be here? How do I want to show up? What kind of friendships do I want? What do I want people to say about me after I'm gone? What do I want to be remembered for, right? Like, I did not expect to hear, somebody just said, I did not expect to hear you guys discussing death when I open this. You know what? This is our reality.
You gotta be real with it, and that's cute. Sorry if you came on here, but I mean it's true, and we have to, like you said, you have to think about those things, but at the same time, we're getting up and we're going to the gym or going for a walk or whatever, doing things to maybe prolong it a little bit.
No, listen, I'm going to prolong it a lot.
Good.
I'm going to prolong it a lot, and it's not because of a fear of death. Right. But it is taking back control of what I want my body to be able to do when I'm 80, 90, 100, 110. Yeah. because what you do right now, those healthy aging choices that you make right now, whether it's with chemical peels for your skin, or whether it's getting to the gym, or whether it's your sleeping or your stress reduction,
Right.
whatever it is, what you do right now affects what you feel like when you get older, how your body functions when you get older, even what you look like when you get older, your pain levels when you get older. It's all right now is what affects all of those later stuff. So when I say I've been thinking about death for a long time, I'm a gerontologist. So I'm a healthy aging coach.
That's
this
right.
is what I do. I want that to be the best possible scenario, though, so that my health span, those number of years where I'm healthy and active and thriving and engaged, go right up along with my lifespan instead of this slow decline, right? We want that health span to like match that lifespan. So I think about death all the time. Sorry, buddy, but I do, because it's important to be able to really kind of inspire you to make those changes right now.
And good decisions while we're at this age too.
Absolutely.
You know, like you decided to stop drinking, and you hear that a lot. People in their 50s, they just all of a sudden go like, I'm just not going to drink anymore.
And I loved my cocktails.
You did?
I was a cocktail girl. I loved my wine. I loved my cocktails. And I felt
stop, just out of the blue, your age.
I felt that like I got to a certain age where I was feeling it the next morning. Right. And that flipped a switch in me. When I started feeling it the next morning, even with one glass of wine, I thought, I'm a healthy aging coach. Two things flipped that switch for me. And I'll do a whole live on alcohol. Yeah. Because I think it's that important. Two things flipped that for me. One is being really in tune with my body and how I felt. Actually, three things, and then we'll end there. So the first one was being really in tune with my body and realizing when I woke up the next morning, I was at 90%. And for me, life is short, and 90% is not acceptable. I need to not have those excuses, getting to the gym, taking my cold plunge, doing my red light therapy. And if you're feeling 90%, you're going to start making more excuses. So that was the first thing, really being in tune with my body and what happened during midlife. When I went through menopause, my alcohol started affecting what I felt like in the morning, which had never happened before.
Wow.
So that was number one. Number two was like really owning where my mindset was around alcohol and what excuses were the tense is in there somewhere.
It's okay. I know it's
but the excuses that I was making to allow bad behavior. I was having a bad
day. I like that. I like that.
Yeah. So how in tune are you with the motivation behind your behavior? We can have really bad days at work that will justify us coming home and having a glass of wine every day, right? But how many of those bad days of work are really made worse in our brain because we get that glass of wine?
It going and having a glass of wine. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I always use the analogy, like if you had a bad day at work and had to go home and eat raw celery, you'd have fewer bad days at work.
That's really, really, that's deep.
So that's number two, is really getting, so number one was getting in tune with my body and how it felt. Okay. Number two was really getting in tune with my mindset. And what was it that was actually the driving force behind me having a bad behavior, like drinking alcohol? Right. Number three was the studies of alcohol have all completely been skewed because we're looking at cultures in which alcohol is given, they have a glass of wine every night or a glass of two of wine every night, and that has helped us live longer. And what they're saying now is people that can afford a glass of two of wine at night is a different socioeconomic class, which has a whole different set of health risks, right? In terms of environment, in terms of pollution, in terms of being able to have fresh fruits and vegetables. That's a lower socioeconomic class than people that can afford a glass of two of wine at night. So they were thinking that the alcohol was helping people live slightly longer. And it has come out that there is no amount of alcohol that is actually good for you. It is a poison. And how are we talking ourselves into it being acceptable?
I love that. I love that. I think that's
really,
all. I love that. I know we're out of time, but I feel like there's so much we could have talked about. I think it's so important, and in your attitude and your information, and you're just so educated, and I could talk to you forever.
Well, we'll do this again, and maybe next time we actually will do a chemical peel.
We'll do it for sure. We will. We absolutely will. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I loved it. Just kind of like a midlife conversation.
Yeah.
Sometimes something about skincare, but also just in health in general. I really appreciate you. This is Dina Mansour from the Perfect Derma Peel. So thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Saturday, everybody. And I'll be here tomorrow at 12, and hopefully I'll go and see what kind of peel I have. Maybe I'll be able to do the Perfect Derma Peel tomorrow live at 12.
Okay.
Bye, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.